Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone SE to the original, not the original iPhone SE, but the iPhone SE that came out in 2020 against the iPhone 7 and see which specific phone you should go and buy. Now, I'll definitely tell you the SE2 is the better one, but I think you can buy like an iPhone 11 in the used market for cheaper or around the same price as this thing, so I'd probably recommend going down that route. Even a 10 is better than this one. So, links will be down in the description if you want to buy any phone that I would recommend this year. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, what's definitely interesting is that the iPhone 7 and the iPhone SE2 are roughly around the same build and around the same size for the most part. The front of the iPhone 7, we do have a 4.7-inch IPS panel, and overall, I mean, it's not a bad panel by any means. It probably could have been better, in 2016, but it's not a bad panel. A lot of phones back then still had home buttons and they had this type of design, so it's totally expected, and it's not really that dated of a design when it comes down to it. Now, in something like the iPhone SE2, on the other hand, this design is almost the exact same thing. You have the same 4.7-inch panel. You do have True Tone on this, which makes it look a little bit better, but there really isn't that big of a difference. Pretty much the same front-facing camera, actually a little bit better on the iPhone SE2. The home button now is still that same vibration motor, and it's pretty much the same phone from the front. So really not that big of a difference, which is kind of disappointing. In terms of thickness and thickness, it's almost kind of the same thing too. Both these phones are built kind of the same, but we do have a little bit of a different build on the iPhone SE2. So pretty much the same type of button layout. We have the exact same thing on both as well. So again, very minor changes between these, and they're really not even worth pointing out. On the back of the iPhones, we do have a glass back on the iPhone SE2, which looks phenomenal. I love the back on this iPhone. However, with the iPhone 7, we had this aluminum back, which doesn't feel cheap either. Like, it still feels fairly premium. There's still a lot of phones that are utilizing, I mean, all phones pretty much feel like aluminum on the sides. They most of the time have glass backs, but there's some advantages for aluminum backs. Like, if you drop it, it's not going to crack the back or anything. So overall, the iPhone SE2 feels like the better phone, but the iPhone 7 feels very good as well. Now, you do have wireless charging on the back of the iPhone SE2, which is really cool. You have the lightning ports on the bottom of both these single cameras, and overall, the iPhone SE2 is a really solid camera, and the iPhone 7 is still a very good phone as well. So that covers it up there. Now, another big thing to remember is that with the future longevity of both these phones, the iPhone 7 is kind of already outdated, which is kind of sad. So when you're getting an iPhone like the iPhone 7, you're getting a phone that is already kind of outdated with software. And that is a humongous disappointing thing. I wish this iPhone could have lasted forever. Reality, it probably could have lasted for quite a bit of time. Unfortunately, this iPhone did not get that type of capability, and it's pretty much unsupported with software. It's still supported for the time being, and it's probably going to continue to get software updates, but it's not going to get updates like how the iPhone SE2 has gotten updates. This thing is still supported with software. In fact, I have iOS 16 on this thing, and I think it's been running fairly well. It still has a lot of features built inside of it. It's definitely not the best priced iPhone of all time, but I'm glad this thing has the updated chipset so it can still get updates as time progresses. So this iPhone is definitely going to be outlasting the iPhone 7, and that is, like I said before, a really big thing to keep in mind. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone SE2 has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 7 has that Apple A10 Fusion chip inside of it with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both of these. Okay, there we go. It's a little weird sunlight, but it's the best I could do right now. So hopping out of all these applications that we have here, as you can see, so let's get into it. Let's do phone calls 3, 2, 1. The SE2 is here. iPhone 7 is here. Very weird. I don't know what to make of that one. Let's go and get into app stores 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE2 was the faster one there. Scrolling through, let's see if there's any differences, which I doubt. Let's just go and see. It does kind of look like the iPhone SE2 is the faster one there, at least smoother. Hopping into these two. Let's go and get into the next one, which can be like something like, photos 3, 2, 1. iPhone SE2 again is the faster one there. Hopping out of here, let's go and get into their camera. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go and take a photo. Look like the iPhone 7 was faster. Let's go and open that photo. And the iPhone S7 was actually kind of looking to be a little bit faster there. Very surprising. Hopping out of here, let's go and get into stocks. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 different panels. We're going to hop out of here. Let's go and get into iTunes Store, which I do not have here, and I don't have anywhere. So, as always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and test on both phones. Let's go and start it off with Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I kind of feel like I clicked it a little bit faster on the iPhone SE2, but it really wasn't that big of a difference. We did have that downloading content panel on the iPhone 7 as well, so keep that in mind. And you can see when we get into it, the iPhone SE2 was substantially faster than the iPhone 7. So keep that in mind. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into the next one, which is Fruit Ninja 3, 2, 1. Now, I'm hoping they both have the same panel because there's a chance they may not. And it does look like the iPhone SE2 is the faster one, followed by the iPhone 7 a little bit later. Not a big deal. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into Snapchat 3, 2, 1. And I do have Genshin Impact, which is a big game, so we'll go ahead and load into that one as well. Did the iPhone 7 open that one up? If it did, let me know in the comment section. I kind of forgot to look. We can try Genshin Impact 3, 2, 1. And again, this is a big game. This is probably one of the biggest games you can download on your iPhone. It's an amazing game, by the way. And the iPhone SE2 did load it into this one a little bit faster than the iPhone 7. So again, I mean, it's quite a bit faster. I mean, it's still Genshin Impact screen right there. And there we go. I mean, you're definitely getting a faster phone, I would say, overall on the iPhone SE2. The thing to remember, though, is that we're still on the iOS 16 betas on this phone, so it's going to get better throughout time. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the camera setups, we do have a single camera setup on both these devices. So it's essentially a wide-angle lens at 12 megapixels on both. You can do 4K on the back of both of them, but the iPhone SE2 can do 4K at 60. You also have things like portrait mode and some other cool things with the iPhone SE2. The iPhone 7's camera, though, probably back in 2016 was good, but it really wasn't even that amazing. I feel like it could have been even better at that point. Now with this type of camera, you're getting an overall decent camera quality. You have things like 4K at 30, like I mentioned, camera on the front, which is all right, but it's definitely not that amazing. You're missing out on a ton of features, and that's probably the one area where the iPhone SE2 kind of wins that, in my opinion. The camera quality on this phone is a lot better than the iPhone 7. You're getting that extra, not that extra camera, but you're getting extra camera modes built in. So you have things like portrait mode, you have video mode at 4K at 60 and 1080p on the front, which is really nice, and you don't really have a lot of other like crazy cool features built into this type of phone. You have even less features on the iPhone 7. So this camera, even though it's not breaking any records and nobody looks at this camera as like the best camera of all time, it's still a better camera than the iPhone 7. So that is definitely one thing to keep in mind at the end of the day. And to be honest, that's kind of how I would somewhat sum up this whole entire video. I feel like the iPhone SE2 is a really good iPhone, and I feel like this is definitely the one I would recommend buying. It's not the best iPhone of all time. I don't even think it's a good deal, but if you have an iPhone like this and you're coming from an iPhone 7, I think this is a good upgrade. But I also think going from an iPhone 7 to an iPhone XR is a really good upgrade. I feel like going from the iPhone 7 to an iPhone 11 is a better upgrade than going to this iPhone. So you can get an iPhone 11 for around the same price as this. You can get a XR for cheaper than this. And that's kind of how I would say, like, going from an iPhone 7 to an iPhone SE2 is a good upgrade. But like I said, I would recommend probably going up to something like an iPhone XR or iPhone 11. So that kind of covers it up for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comments section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.